Welcome back to the garden. As I'm sure you can tell, the garden is kind of in a struggling season right now. And we're in September. The plants have been in the ground for months and months. They've gone through the heat of the summer, and now as the temperatures are starting to cool down, the garden is not looking its best, but it's very tempting in this season to just let it go, and to be honest, for the past couple weeks I haven't been focusing on the garden as much as I normally do, but today I'm going to start by harvesting everything that's ready, then we're going to do some garden cleanup together. I'm actually surprised at how much the garden is still yielding. I was able to harvest quite a bit of peppers, some okra, and a couple of beans. Now I'm working on some garden cleanup. I'm going to go around with my pruners and prune off anything that's yellow or brown or has a lot of bug damage, and also pick off any leaves that need to go, as well as cutting off any spent blooms from flowers. As the temperatures start to get cooler, it's really tempting to just let the garden go, and I could do that. In fact, I have too few days in my season to plant anything new, but I'm really going to try to hold myself accountable to keeping up with the things that I do have growing. My tomato bed needs probably the most work. I have a lot of tomatoes that just have crispy and diseased looking leaves, and these tomatoes I started from seed indoors back in February, so they've been in the ground for several months and they're nearing the end of their life cycle, so it's very normal to see diseased leaves and for them to kind of slow down on production. But out of my 6 tomatoes, I only really have 2 that are still actually producing well. I had a couple that were just unsuccessful for some reason. So I'm going to go through and make a hard decision of pulling out the tomatoes that don't have large fruit set, because I don't think I'll have enough time for them to ripen before they need to be pulled out. With the plants that I'm leaving in the ground, I'm just taking some time to clean up the leaves and make sure they look nice and tidy. This tomato here is called a climbing triple crop, and this is the first year I've grown it. And all year long, the only tomatoes that it's set, it has 2 that are about that size. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip this one out because it's been completely unproductive for me. Another tomato that needs to go, this is the Dr. Witchy, and if you remember back to the beginning of the summer, I had a blueberries tomato planted to the right of it, and both of them have really struggled, and I think it's because of the bed. I think there's something wrong with how I filled it because this is a brand new bed and these are both tomatoes that I've had great success with in the past, so not blaming them, but I do need to take them out. Something else that really needs to go are my cucumber vines. They are completely covered in aphids and have struggled with squash vine borers, and I think next year when I plant cucumbers, I'll plant them much earlier because the end of the season, they've just struggled with the heat. After I ripped out those cucumbers and cleaned everything up, I was really excited to find that I had more Cherokee black beans than I thought that I did. I also took some time to just enjoy a deep breath and a relaxing moment in the garden, and I created this little bouquet just in a mason jar with some pretty flowers that I've grown. Thank you so much for watching and following my garden journey this year.